Some Republicans are teaming up with AOC on economics. So this surprised me when I first saw it, but Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, a Florida Republican, is teaming up with AOC and Bernie Sanders to push forward an economic plan that is very controversial. It would cap interest rates on credit cards, but potentially have some very serious unintended consequences. Take a listen to this reporting from The Hill.
Congresswomen Anna Paulina Luna and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a very conservative Republican and a very left-leaning Democrat, have come together on new legislation.
On Friday, they introduced a bill that would cap credit card interest rates at 10%.
Now, Luna wrote on X, "For too long, credit card companies have abused working-class Americans with absurd interest rates, trapping them in an almost insurmountable amount of debt. We need a fair solution. That means getting rid of the status quo and putting a reasonable cap on interest rates." Right now, the average credit card interest rate is a little under 29%, according to Forbes. Now, according to the Fed, the lowest credit card interest rate ever was about 11.88% during the 2008 recession.
So I'm here to rain on the parade and point out that this bipartisanship is all actually a terrible idea. Honestly, Representative Luna should know this because she actually specifically campaigned back several years ago when she ran for Congress as the opposite of Bernie and AOC when it comes to economics. Take a look at this video.
I'm a millennial, I am a Latina, and I am the exact opposite of AOC, and that is exactly why more people like myself are needed in office. And at the end of the day, you have people like Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who are actively preaching socialism as if it's a good thing, that it's, this land of good and plenty, when in actuality, one, who's going to pay for that, and two, to give government total power in the way that they're wanting it is absolutely dangerous. Socialism comes at the price tag, the price of the individual, the price at, bankrupting countries, and the price that eventually ends up in human life. And I in no way, shape, or form believe that a socialist agenda belongs in the United States government.
So now she's in Congress teaming up with them on an economic plan with these self-described socialist left-wing lawmakers. Yeah, you probably should know better than that, given the fact that you ran to specifically offer something different. To be clear, that doesn't mean she's wrong. Economic reality and unintended consequences are why she's wrong. This would basically just ban most credit cards as they currently exist and ban most people from accessing credit cards. If you want to do that, if you want to ensure that only very affluent people with very high credit scores can access credit cards, say that. Say, we are banning most middle income, low income, or even some middle class people who don't have amazing credit scores. We're just going to ban them from having credit cards. Say it with your chest, be honest about it, because you can't force companies to offer people credit cards at very low interest rates that are way below what they would expect in a market. They just won't offer them to people. I mean, the lowest credit card rate ever recorded is, like they said at The Hill, 11-something%. I have excellent credit, and my personal credit cards are all in the 20s of percentage. And to be clear, I don't run credit on them, and I don't recommend that people do, but I do make the most of points, and I use them responsibly. And here we have government officials trying to micromanage my life and ban them, basically, or totally restructure them and just do away with them as we know it, and frankly, get rid of most of the rewards programs and other things like that. If your plan is to help low-income people who are finding themselves in credit card debt by banning them from accessing credit cards, at least say that and be honest. Don't act like, oh, we're going to have this magic solution where everyone can have credit cards at 10% interest rates, because that's not what's going to actually happen. So you're selling people a lie. And you're not helping these low-income people here. You always have to think about not just the goals, which I'm sure they want to help people, but the unintended consequences of government micromanaging of people's finances and meddling in the economy. What would truly happen, frankly, is that a lot of poor people would turn to payday loans, which have even higher, more obscene interest rates. Some of them would turn to under-the-table loan sharks who might break their legs if they can't pay them back. A lot of people would actually be left significantly worse off. And because you're not addressing the root of the problem, which is that the cost of living is too high and people's wages aren't high enough, so they're falling behind and they're having to use credit cards, which is not a wise financial decision. And some of them, it might just be because of financial literacy, but many of them genuinely probably can't keep up. You are putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole in a way that actually might make the bleeding worse. And this kind of thing is maddening to me because I don't expect any better from Bernie Sanders or AOC. They don't understand economics. They're self-described socialists, right? Like they're going to want the government to micromanage people's decisions. But Republicans hopping on board with this, Representative Luna, Josh Hawley, all these people, it's like the Republican Party just increasingly straying away from the traditional free market capitalist principles it stood for that, frankly, are a key part of American prosperity and success. And when they find themselves agreeing with socialists about economics, that should be a red flag, frankly. And the fact that these people don't seem to be picking up on that cue and reevaluating the populist legislation they're pushing tells me one of two things. They either need remedial economic courses stat, or they know that these policies are actually unworkable and foolish, but they just want to capitalize on the populist wave and sentiment of the moment to grow their profiles and advance their popularity, and they don't actually care all the downstream economic consequences these plans would have if they become law. Which is worse? I'll let you decide. What do you think? Do you agree with these proposals? If you do, I want to hear you out in the comments, so let me know what you think.